like the cute little cuddly animal sidekick who the kids love. It's for the children. But at the same time, there's the source material, which is more adult, and so this movie tries to play it both ways, right? Like, and this duck tit scene encapsulates that perfectly, because it is a duck puppet that, in most ways, looks like it's something that you might even see on, like, The Muppet Show or something like that. But it's got tits. So...
Oh my god, that would have been so great if, like, when he'd gone through the fucking wall and seen her, he would have just gone, mana, mana.
Oh god.
That would have been awesome.
But you get what I'm saying, though, right? Like, it's trying to be both adult and appeal to the kids at the same time, and it doesn't really know what it wants to be, and so it's just kind of floundering.
Basically, I mean, in a way, though, you're almost kind of agreeing with me in some way, in the sense that my whole thing is I'm saying this was a movie that was made when people weren't ready for this kind of thing to be on their movie screen. Mm-hmm. And there probably was over, corporate involvement. Hey, kids, and da-da-da. And maybe they didn't know, maybe Lucas didn't quite know how to do this, because he knew, okay, this movie is a rated R flick, it wouldn't fly, no pun intended. Mm-hmm. So they did with it what they could, and it even with that, it's still very standout, very, very much an oddball movie for its time. And now, I mean, and I do hope that they do a reboot of this. I would love to see it, because now they
pop up at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, and now they could do this now, and they could probably make it rated R, and it not be a problem.
They wouldn't make it rated R.
They wouldn't, but
because it is, at the end of the day, it is Marvel, and Marvel is family entertainment now, so there's no way Marvel is doing anything that's rated R.
But, I'm just saying theoretically it could be done, and people really wouldn't have the same reaction to it. And I think that's kind of what's colored this movie over time, is that weird combination that resulted from this movie trying to go its own route, trying to be something that was very different at the time. And I think it's gotten that reputation that it isn't entirely deserved. Again, is this a cinematic masterpiece? No, it's not. But when I watch it, I have fun. I think it's funny. I dig the cheap humor. I dig the parody of itself. I dig the self-referencing kind of thing.
Objection!
What?
Objection. Any movie that features sexual attraction between a duck and a human being deserves any scorn that is heaped upon it.
I'm going to say no, because if you say that, then Captain Kirk, now he never fucked a duck, but that's because they never had a duck chick in Star Trek. Okay?
Counterfactual, you're assuming.
Okay, look at Captain Kirk's background. Okay, I'm just saying. If it moves, he will dock and hit Starbase. He will put his shuttlecraft in the port, and he will beam several million aboard. I'm just saying. And if this duck chick existed in the Star Trek universe, if they had put it in the Star Trek universe, Captain Kirk would have been all over that. If it's we're not talking, some hillbilly here, one of my neighbors, getting drunk and, going over to a duck and giving it a good plow. We're talking about an alien race, a sentient being, and with the ability, an avian-based sentient life form, capable of making its own decisions, as is its mate, be they human or otherwise. And, it was consensual sex. I don't categorize that as bestiality. I do not put it in the same category as the brony thing either, because that is intended for 7-year-old girls, and so that's my line on that. If it's a sentient base, if the overarching content is intended is not overtly intended for children, which by this scene existing, it is not overtly intended for children. It is put in the film in a way that had I gone to see this when I was a kid, I wouldn't have thought anything about it. I wouldn't have gotten what was going on. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and that's something that I think a lot of movies and parents and everything get kind of wrong. It's like, remembering back when I was that age, when I would see something sexually explicit, I didn't think anything of it. Mm-hmm. I didn't think anything good or bad. It's just another scene. And in most cases, I was just bored or irritated that something wasn't blowing up or something cool wasn't happening. And, I don't think that made me the sexual deviant that I am. I think, I don't think I had any part in it. That was completely other shit. So, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's presented in a manner that's, I won't say tasteful. I'll say not overtly offensive. And I don't have an issue with it. I still think the movie is funny.
I don't know. It just seems... It really just... It seems weird. And not in a good way. Like, the main plot... Like, the same device that brings Howard to our universe or planet... It's really not clear. Also kind of brings some other entity, and it possesses a scientist, and the plot just seems... And then there's a subplot where the Duck's love interest is like part of a band who's being taken advantage of by their manager, so then Howard has to try to get them out of the like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, now, the reason for that is simple. The 80s.
Okay, yes, I get that, but, like, what the fuck's going on? We've got this movie about this, like, dimension-hopping space duck, and he's seducing a human chick, and then that's weird, and now we've got, like, this fucking after-school special plot where they have to get rid of the evil band manager. There's an alien duck! Why are we focusing on mundane shit?
Because the 80s. If they had not had that in there and they would have just had, more scenes of him, flirting with the human chick, then you'd be sitting here complaining about that.
Yes, I would, because it offends God's creation. That's fine.
There are far worse things in this world, sir, than human duck sex.
Not much. Not very many things.
and it's that mindset that's why ISIS hates our freedom. Now, stop defending ISIS. God damn it, man.
I don't know, man. It's just fucking
awesome.
It's Howard the It's this weird movie that doesn't know if it wants to be for kids or adults. It's got a plot that, we divert from so we can focus on some generic 80s thing with, like, band managers and crap. I don't know. This movie really doesn't know what to be. It's less a movie and it's more just, a bunch of random things loosely strung together that involve this duck. I mean, they're
I didn't take that from it. I didn't get that feeling from it.
No, I
don't know what to tell you. I just didn't.
To me, the plots are just so disconnected, though, because you've got, like, this... First, you've got the fish out of water thing, when Howard first shows up.
Is he a duck, sir, or is he a fish? Make up your mind.
But we do that for a while. And then we get into this whole band manager storyline, which I don't know why it's there, aside for, like, it's the 80s, and it was either that or he had to save some kid's recreational center from a real estate developer.
Oh, no, that's more 90s.
Either way. And then there's that, and then after that, we jump into this plot where, this alien entity has possessed this body of the scientist who's going to open a gateway to other dimensions. And, like, it just seems like we're zigzagging all over the place. Like, I understand that you've got to have you're gonna have a B plot. I understand that the narrative is going to take more than one direction, but we just seem to be jumping from point A to point, it's not point A to point B, it's point A to point Z.
Z.
Okay.
I honestly, in this particular case, after having watched them, when I watched the movie, I didn't get that feeling from it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't feel any disconnect in the plot. I mean, maybe this is movies to watch while drunk, but I didn't get that. I just thought it was a funny movie about a duck who liked tits. And, I thought the whole parallel world / universe thing, and, you saying that the movie doesn't seem to know whether it's a parallel universe that the ducks are on or another planet that the ducks are on. Well, you know what, sir? Scientists don't know either.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that about Howard the Duck. I'm talking about the various incarnations of the multiverse theory. And it's actually theorized that if the universe is in fact infinite, that with enough planets, eventually any variation of our world will exist in this same universe. So it could be just another planet.
Now we're getting into topics that I do not feel I am qualified to weigh in on.
Well, I am, sir, because I watched the History Channel. I did.
Back before it just became
the Pawn Stars Channel.
The Pawn Star Channel. I saw that they have some new Pawn-related show coming out.
I'm sure they do. But yeah,
it's not Pawn Stars, but it's like Pawn-based.
But anyways, I mean, I didn't see anything... I didn't see anything worse about this movie than many others that I've seen. It's certainly not the worst George Lucas film that's out there. And in terms of overall movies of its type, I would actually say it's definitely one of the better ones. Simply because it does things that you didn't do back then. It does things that haven't been done since. And you may say, well, there's a reason for that. But I would say, well, no, I watched it. I seen what it was doing. And I didn't see anything wrong with it. From a storytelling standpoint, do I particularly care about the band manager and all this other shit? No, I really don't. But then again, the 80s and whatever, and that was the thing then, kind of, in a lot of shit like that. So, it's not a cinematic masterpiece, but I'd much rather watch that than Citizen Kane or the fucking Godfather. Mm-hmm. Two of the most overrated pieces of bloated garbage ever. So,
I just I kind of find it.
You are right on one thing, though. It is weird.
It's weird. Yes.
It is weird. And to me, though, that's a good thing. I like weird, obviously. Weird, because everything else is so non-weird that when you see something that is truly weird, that's not just like creepy, scary, like Doctor Doom's costume weird,
mm-hmm.
That I like it.
I don't know. I see I kind of see it, and I see this really weird movie, and I feel it's just a certain disconnect because of its weirdness. It doesn't seem weird in a good way to me.
Well, maybe you're not weird enough.
Maybe I'm not. Maybe I am not. But let us move on to some World of Warcraft news. We didn't have much to talk about last week, but this week And speaking of which, again, sorry, but back to the Batman Defender. Of course, it's up to listeners to decide who won,